Hello, hello, hello. Testing, testing. I think I'm live now. Let me just double check. Today we're going to be talking about how to recognize and overcome job seeker fatigue. Let me just make sure that I'm live because I am using a new platform. It looks like I am, so perfect. Let me just share some things out. So this is definitely going to be for either job seekers or really even anyone in the workplace even, because even though I will be talking about job seeker fatigue, it can also be related to, folks in the workplace that are feeling fatigued, or, you can feel fatigue in a lot of different areas of your life. So some of these tips may even be helpful from that standpoint. So I am using my phone because my notes are like in here. I had the notes on my computer and I was trying to send them to my notes. And so I just emailed them to myself from earlier. And then I did have an article I was going to reference, but I have no idea where that is. So we're gonna go off of the notes. And hello, Mr. Wise. Nice to see you in here. How are you doing today? Thank you. Welcome in. And hopefully I look okay. I am not using StreamYard. I'm using Restream. So I'm hoping it comes across well. And so I'm going to go ahead and just jump into this video. So the first thing I want to just kind of talk about is this whole idea of being fatigued. Oh, actually, let me share on Instagram. I just realized I didn't do that. I am really trying to get better about, sharing when I'm on here. So let me do that really quick and share if I have it. Okay, well, I don't have the visual, but I'm going to say talking. I'm live on YouTube. Oh, good. You're doing good. Awesome. On YouTube now. Talking about job seeker fatigue. All right, so job seeker fatigue. Back to the subject. Hopefully I spelled that right. Mr. Rice, you're doing well. Good. I'm so glad to hear that. You've used Restream before. Okay, how was it? Did it work pretty easily for you? And hey, Cassandra Millhouse, let me see if I can even highlight people's responses. Ooh, I can. Look at that. Well, look at that. I can highlight people in here. That's perfect. Yes, happy Tuesday. Hey, Edward, welcome in. So nice to see you. I appreciate you. If you were here for the discussion yesterday, if you're interested in drama, you may be interested in seeing some fun comments on that video. Regardless, I am going to keep talking about colorism and how that plays out in the workplace, no matter what people say on my videos. Can't shut me up in that way. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about fatigue. So let's just start off with talking about what is fatigue. So you may realize that you may be feeling fatigue by noticing a couple different things. You may be feeling tired. And, obviously we all get a little tired sometimes. I am talking, you're feeling overtired, like you're just worn out and it's not like anything has changed. But for a job seeker, it can be very overwhelming to be looking for a job, especially if you've been looking for a very long time. And when I say long time, I am more so referring to, typically it takes a job seeker anywhere from 3 to 6 months to find a new job. That's kind of the standard. Sometimes you find jobs quicker. I've found jobs quicker than that. But I will say, even as a recruiter, there's a struggle. The job seeker process is not easy. I don't think for anyone. It can be easier for some, especially if you know the right people, if you're in the HR space or you're a recruiter. But just depending on timing, depending on a lot of different factors, some you can control, others you can't control, like for example, pandemic, right? It can be overwhelming. So you may feel that you're just feeling tired, worn out. Another symptom of how you can recognize that you're feeling overwhelmed is you may not be just overly tired, but you find that your energy is lower. So maybe you're someone that likes to get up, you like to, I don't know, get up in the morning and go run or exercise or do something, or typically you come off as very energetic and happy, but you found that maybe people are saying to you that you seem a little down, or are you okay? Like, what's going on? You don't seem your energetic or happy self. That may be a symptom of fatigue as well. The other one was if you're feeling like you have some difficulty in sleeping, which could be, obviously, can cause lack of energy, or, this feeling of tiredness. Like you normally sleep well and you found lately you can't even sleep. The other one is going to be just you're kind of distracted. You're not able to function as easily with even day-to-day activities. So those are a couple of ways that you may be able to recognize that you're feeling a little fatigued. And again, this can be for job seekers, of course. That's really what I'm catering a lot of my tips to. But these type of things can also be seen for anyone, really, whether you're a stay-at-home mom to someone that's a business owner, maybe you're an entrepreneur, or if you're someone that is a full-time or part-time worker, maybe you've adjusted to, working remotely and you're having a hard time with that, or you're feeling fatigued that way. So there's a lot of different ways that you may be feeling fatigued. But again, my tips are catered towards job seekers, but you may be able to take some of these away in general. So just wanted to kind of address that. Like, what is the whole fatigue feeling? What does that feel like? How do you recognize it? Now, there's different things that you can do to treat fatigue. Now, what the medical treatments are going to be, mine are different than this, but keeping a regular sleep schedule, maintaining a healthy diet if you've seen your diets changed, or doing things like doing some practice of some type of either exercise or meditation, like yoga, going for walks, things like that, breathing exercises, small things that you can implement into your daily routine. So that's in general what fatigue may look like. As far as a job seeker's fatigue, and I can even talk a little bit from experience, but what that could look like is you may just feel overwhelmed. You may not even want to go into the process of looking for jobs. You find yourself, you're not even really paying attention or responding to emails. You're not putting in the time that you need to put into for your job search. You're hearing no response after no response, and you're getting demotivated. And all of these different things can really lead to you feeling, again, that overwhelmingness, that inability to sleep because maybe you're stressed out because you're, thinking about, okay, you're putting all this work in. When are you actually going to get some traction with your job search? So a lot of different ways that you can recognize that you're feeling fatigue. Really, any difference that you're finding, whether it's in your, physical state or your mental state, is most likely going to be, you may question if you're feeling fatigued from potentially your job search. Hey, King of Kill, welcome in here. And I see everyone talking to each other in the comments here. Hey. All right, so what's my first tip for someone that is struggling with fatigue, like particularly job seeker fatigue? Let me pull that up. So the first thing that I wanted to say is I want job seekers to know that there is nothing wrong with you. It is really tough for anyone that works in sales, or if you're a recruiter, it is really hard to continue to get rejection. And I've gotten plenty of rejection letters. It's not like recruiters are magicians and we get every single job that we apply to because we we know the exact right timing and all these different things to do. Even for us, there may be things out of our control, timing, all these different things I talk about on my channel. That may be a reason why you don't get a specific job that you apply to, even if you think you're 100% the right person, the right fit. So just my first tip will be to really recognize it is not you, it is nothing wrong with you. You are talented. There's a lot that you bring to a workplace. And a lot of different factors go into play when it comes to the job search. Some you can control, others you can't control. So that's my number one tip. So let me put that in the comments here. It's not you. I'll just say that one. So this is the first one. So the second thing is sometimes with a job search, it can be overwhelming. And I've had to do this myself, and I've also recommended this to others, to take time away from your job search. It is definitely not healthy to be on a job search day in, day out, online, on Indeed, on LinkedIn. And you guys know I love LinkedIn, but you should not be on LinkedIn all day, or stressing from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. or whatever time about when are you going to find a new job, right? So there should be time already built in to your schedule. This is something I recommended on an older video talking about a layoff, because I've been laid off before. And one of the things I recommend is to take some time for yourself, get out emotions and all that stuff, anything you're harnessing about the company, because layoffs are really tough, they're emotional. But also to really think about how you want to plan out your schedule week by week for your job search. So, are you going to spend a bulk of your time in the morning to, focus on the job search? What are you going to do during that time? Build out a schedule so it doesn't just feel like all day you've just been applying to so many jobs. So you do have to make a plan for yourself. And as a part of that, you need to build in some time for taking lunch breaks, taking breaks here and there, taking walks. I know sometimes, obviously with trying to find work, you're thinking about your finances, most likely. Find free things that you can do to just get away, get your mind off things, have a conversation with someone. I know right now it's tough because there aren't events happening so much unless you're maybe in Texas. There's still events happening here. But, find ways that you can really engage with other people, even if that is remotely or if it's just one person, to get away from it. So you should be planning it out. Now, if you haven't and you're in this state of fatigue, that would be my recommendation, to put yourself in a place where you can schedule time to just relax, do something for free. There are plenty of free videos on YouTube where you can do yoga and fitness and meditation and all these different things, guided reading, you name it. So taking that time away from that job search can be really helpful mentally and physically. So that is my number one tip to address fatigue, is just to pause and spend a little time away from that job search. Now, the second thing there, so let me put that in there. So pause. And I'm going to say reflect, because that gets into my second point. So pause and reflect. So while you're taking that time away from your job search, what I recommend doing next is to reflect on the things that you've done. So once you've kind of gotten a little more calm, you're in a better headspace, and you're not as fatigued, you're not feeling as overwhelmed, the things about your search. Maybe you're sleeping better now, you're getting your energy back, you're calmer, maybe you don't have as much anxiety, because that can be another symptom of fatigue. Well, now I encourage you to spend some time to reflect on what you've been doing. Now, this is centered for job seekers, but this can also be centered for just anyone in their day-to-day life. to really reflect on what you've been doing. What has your schedule been looking like? Have you had a schedule? What have you been spending your time doing? And if you've only been spending your time doing, maybe for a job seeker, solely filling out every single application that you can, because you can get alerts, you can, actually run searches yourself on these different platforms, Indeed, LinkedIn, ZipRecruiter, Monster. There's so many, job boards that can be overwhelming in itself. But if you notice, okay, that's literally what I've been doing this full time, well, you need to diversify your time that you're spending. So what I would recommend doing is to really take a step back and actually talk to someone, whether it's someone that you know that maybe works in HR or they are a recruiter. I offer career services myself. Even if it's a friend that is just maybe really smart or really wise or really good at, finding different career opportunities, or someone that you can get career advice from, you need to talk to someone about your process and figure out a plan of what you can change, what you can do differently, because we're reflecting on what hasn't worked with what you've been doing, what's not, obviously we're not getting those results that we want. So you have to change something. So reflect on what you've done and then talk to someone. Just start developing a plan. And sometimes it's just helpful because you may not remember everything you've done, but getting someone on the phone or meeting someone in person and just talking about it will draw up some different, thoughts. You may even have some different ideas. And then of course, the person that you're speaking with will have some different ideas for you as well. Yes, King of Kill, museums are free. You can go to a museum. You can go to parks. You can go hiking. Yes, I love that because, most museums are free. Not every museum will be free, but, typically, even here in Dallas, we have certain museums that are free unless you want to do an exhibit or something. So no, that's a perfect one. Thank you for that comment. So there's different things that you should do to pause, get away, just relax your mind and step away from the job search process. The next thing is really to take that time to reflect and figure out what it is you need to change. And again, I do recommend talking with someone because that's very helpful. You may think that you just got to do it yourself. There's, you may not even want to talk to anyone, especially with layoffs and terminations. I said this in another video. You can feel a little bit embarrassed. You can, people don't want to share negative news, but layoffs are not the employee's fault. Layoffs are typically happening because of a business decision. Like either the company isn't doing well financially, they are restructuring, or, X, Y, and Z reason. Even terminations aren't necessarily always the employee's fault. And even if you were at fault, sometimes it's just not the right fit. Like if you're deemed not at fault, plenty of people have been fired and doing phenomenal in other ways. So sometimes it's just not the right fit. The company's not even the right fit for you. So get that behind you, take the time you need. So that's why I always say, just take some time after those types of situations, because you just need to, it's emotion. You just need to get it out. You just got to relax, get it out, get over any harboring feelings. So anyway, talking to someone really helps. I will also point out, with the layoff, typically a company will give you some different resources. Sometimes it's even, a career counselor or therapist or someone that you can talk to. So use those resources. I will say, I've had my own experience with some of those professionals, and they're not always great, but it can just lend you an ear to speak to, even if they're not the best career coach or counselor or whatever. It helps to just talk some things out and get different ideas, or even, kind of promote your thinking too. So that was the next tip, was to talk. I don't know why I have this in all caps, but talk to someone and build a plan to change. Sorry, I know you can hear me typing. Okay. So that's the next one. Okay, so once you've done that, you have your plan. As you're building out your plan, one thing that I want you to build into your plan is to, again, this goes back to job seekers. Whatever your industry is, whatever type of job you're, ideally looking for, I want you to find opportunities where you can learn something, whether that's reading an article every day or every week, taking up a free class. There's plenty of, like, I think Udemy, EDX, Microsoft and Google, they have a few free ones that you can find. A lot of different classes that you can take online in your specific niche that can help you just to get a little more motivated about your why, like why you're looking for this specific industry. And it can really help just harbor some better positive emotions. The other reason I say do this, spend some time to focus on learning in your industry, is because it sounds really good to recruiters when they hear you say, obviously you've been looking for a job, but during the time, your gap in employment, you've been looking for a job, right? Which we get, that you've also been taking opportunities to learn. Because what we do when we hear that is that gives us, I guess you could say, a selling point. Because when you're thinking about a recruiter, with our relationship with a hiring manager, we are kind of selling a candidate to them. Like, this is why King of Kill is so great. Or this is why I want you to talk to King of Kill and Edward, because they have XYZ experience. They have these skills. They are both great communicators, and they're actually very proactive. Like, get this, they've been looking for a job, for the past month, and they actually have been going out of their way to earn some certifications. They have been a part of this program and that program, or this networking group or whatever, and we can really talk them up. So that helps your job search process too. The other thing you can do as far as learning is to join an online group that's in your field. So whatever your niche is, you can join different online, things that, I actually shared something today. It was a money and finance thing for women, but you can find a lot of different events, even on Eventbrite, just searching Google, searching different professional groups on LinkedIn even, and that can help to just regenerate your search. Again, you're connecting with different people in your niche, and it can also, as you're connecting with people, that may also provide a little more motivation for your job search, and could lead to more potential contacts that can help your job search process. So that would be my next tip. So I'm gonna put this in the comments. Spend time learning. Activities. Thank you, Cassandra. Spend time on learning. This one's like, I don't know. I don't have automatic banners set in here, so trying to get used to Restream. Cassandra says great point, so thank you so much for that. Appreciate it. All right, and so my last couple of points here, this shouldn't be a super long video, is to, oh wait, hold on. Because I think I talked about one of these already. Oh, yes. Okay. So the other thing I wanted to specify with the changes that you're making, identify a specific area of the job search that you want to focus on. Don't feel like you need to do everything at the same time. So when I talk about the job search process, I'm talking about the networking, the resume writing, the, kind of having these mock interviews to prepare, the research for the, jobs that you're looking for. Try to break up your activities. And this is why the planning and making out a schedule is really important. And really focus on specifics first. So if you recognize that you need a new resume, maybe you talk to someone, they're like, I don't understand your resume, you need a new one. Focus on that first, instead of trying to get a new resume while you're still applying to jobs. Pause on the applying to jobs. Get the resume, focus on getting that really quickly, and then move on to the next thing, which will be, you can still research jobs, but I wouldn't say continue applying to everything you get your hands on. Because again, you're going to be feeling overwhelmed. And if you don't have a great resume, you're just kind of spinning your wheels. So that would be one thing. And then the other part of that is if you found that you have this great resume and your holdup is like you can't get past interviews, focus on that. So focus on finding someone that can help you with mock interviews, or make sure that you're spending the time to really research and do different things like that. So really hone in on what it is you want to work on and follow the process. It should be getting, the networking. If you're not networking with anyone, well, that's what you're needing to focus on. So you're going to build into your schedule more time with networking, keeping some time to yourself. Again, we're not spending the whole day looking for a job. And so I would say those are the main tips I would have for someone that's feeling fatigued while they're on a job search. Now, I will say some of these can be relatable to anyone that's in the work environment right now, because you may be feeling fatigued. I think we've all felt a little bit fatigued or overwhelmed when you're working full time, or even managing things like school or getting a certification, or maybe kids at home. So I would even recommend some similar things like building out a schedule and taking the time to really build in breaks, that you can have a little bit of time for yourself, whatever that activity is for you, even if it's only 10 minutes, 5 minutes. Simple breathing exercises for 5 minutes can work for you. So those were a couple of tips that I had. Let me just look at my notes to make sure I didn't miss anything. Oh, okay. Okay, so this was the last thought I had on, feeling fatigued as a job seeker. Definitely keep a person that you can talk to. Uh-oh, things just went away from me. Hold on one second. Oh, that's weird. Okay, I guess I'm back. That was really weird. So I got a call on my phone, and so I see the notification on my computer, but then everything just went away. All right, anyway. Okay, so the other thing, where was I even going with that? So find someone that you can talk about openly about just where you are in the process, someone that you can rant to, someone that you can talk to about your struggles, and really open up to. So that is my other recommendation, is just to have someone that you can openly talk with. Again, whether that's you being a job seeker, or on the flip side, if you're just feeling overwhelmed at work or whatever you got going on in your life, you definitely should find someone that you can generally open up to and just vent to. Oh, hey, Paulinda, you're coming in here as I was just getting to my last point. But how are you? How's it going? Oh, thank you. Yes, please, again, hit the thumbs up button if you are able to. But that is really the video. So I don't know if there's any questions in the comments, but I'll give it a few minutes for that. Just to kind of summarize, I guess I can do a quick summary of this. Thank you, Cassandra. I'm glad you're still in here. Thanks for hanging out with me tonight. So you've been on these videos. I appreciate it. So overall, let me just backtrack and summarize. So number one thing I recommend if you're feeling fatigue is, one, you have to recognize if you're feeling fatigue. So you have to kind of recognize those symptoms and just take a pause and tell yourself you need to take a break. Whatever it is that's giving you the fatigue. So for job seekers, the job seeker process. For someone that's working full-time, in school full-time, whatever it might be, take a step back. Sometimes you just need to pause and say, I am not going to spend any time on this for this full Saturday or this full weekend or whatever. You know how much time you might need until you start feeling, less fatigued, so less tired, no or less interruptions in your sleeping patterns, more ability to concentrate. Again, your eating patterns may have shifted, a lot of different things that you'll notice, whether in your mental state or in your physical state, that can show that you're fatigued or even having anxiety. So take a pause. And then during that pause, let me see if I can find the comment, because I did say I put it in the comments early on. Here it is. So the pause and reflect. So take the time to pause, but then also once you're feeling better, feeling more yourself, use that time that you have to really not just jump right back into the same process you've been doing, because that's the same process that got you to the point where you were fatigued. So we're not doing that, right? We are going to really reflect on, okay, what in the world got me to that point of feeling fatigued? What was I doing? And I will use myself as an example, because when I was laid off in 2019, half of my team, it was just a lot. First layoff, first time I ever been laid off. And it was the full team. Like my manager that hired me, a lot of the people that I worked with on a day-to-day, like sat right next to, and yeah, so that was pretty emotional for me. So I did take time. Just knowing myself, I was like, I have to take a day or two before I jump into the job search process. But the first week was a little bit overwhelming for me, but I actually did that myself. So I'm not just telling folks to do this process because it sounds good. I actually did it myself. I built up a schedule for myself on, okay, what am I doing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? Like I built regular work hours, pretty much, a little trimmed down. Like it wasn't 9 to 5, but pretty much of the day I had pointed out what I was going to be doing. So what part of the day was I going to spend on applications? What part of the midday was I going to use for lunch and just doing different things, seeing my mom, seeing different people. This time I was in St. Louis, Missouri. And using a schedule and holding myself accountable and knowing the process of the job search, in the flow of what I need to work on first, and, knowing that I needed a little mean time, that a good plan was not going to be applying to anything and everything out there, because again, that all that does is really make you overwhelmed. And when you're seeing rejections from that, it does not help you. So that is what I had to do as well. So I'd say pause, reflect, and then the next step in the process is to really, as you're reflecting, start talking to someone that you can trust, or a counselor, career advisor. Again, with layoffs, oftentimes you're getting someone, because with the layoff package, or if you're getting a severance package, that's typically included. It may not be the best person, but hey, it's someone with ears and they can listen to you and they're getting paid to listen. So just talk it out with someone. And then if you don't have that, if you didn't get a severance package, maybe it was a termination and you weren't given a severance package, because even sometimes with terminations, you may get a severance. Just find someone that you can talk to. Find someone that's knowledgeable in HR or recruitment. Again, I'm available as well. It just helps for you to, one, vent and get another perspective, and then really use that time to hone in on what you're doing, right? And what you can change. So those were pretty much the overall points of the video. So that is that. Oh, I'm so sorry, I'm missing comments because I scrolled up. Let me see here. And yes, thank you, Paulinda. Yes, please hit that like button. Let me see. Yeah, I'm just enter on YouTube. You're just entering. Oh, you're just jumping on YouTube now? Okay, gotcha. Yes, because I'm imagining that you've had your dinner for the night. I actually need to eat dinner. I had some spinach and like sauteed veggies for lunch. And so I need to find something for dinner. You guys know I kind of eat like a rabbit, like bunny ears and all. I kind of eat like a rabbit a lot of the time because, hashtag vegan-ish life. Because I'm not really vegan. Because I have been indulging drinking honey and all these non-vegan things. Cassandra said most definitely. King Akil says the one that really stood out to me was learning while in between jobs. Oh, and I forgot to say that in the summary. Thank you, King Akil. So yes, summarizing that, yes, learning while you're in between jobs. Yes, because again, it sounds really good. I mean, I will tell you, I have heard job seekers say, like literally tell me about the different things they're learning. And not only does it show that you're proactive, but it also shows that interest and that passion in that industry. So again, a good recruiter is going to really highlight all these great things about their candidate. So that interview with a recruiter is not just, or it shouldn't feel like it's just checking off the boxes, right? There is a part of that during that call. We have to make sure you're qualified for the job. But the other part of that is to really assess, is this the right job for you? And then what's your interest? Because for me, I'm a recruiter. I'm not going to be pushing people forward if I doubt that you're really interested in a job and it just seems like you're solely interested in a job just because of the job. Because I've literally heard people say, like I asked them, what actually influenced you to apply to the job, or what got you to apply? And they're like, oh, I just needed a job. It's like, okay, so when you were looking at the job description, what stood out to you? Oh, and it's like crickets. Or they're like, yeah, I just, and they just kind of say the job title. It's a marketing specialist. I'm really interested in marketing. And you're like, really? Or that's how I am. So I'm on the phone like, because you guys know I make facial expressions. So I'm just like, okay. All right. And so I will even try later on the call because I do recognize sometimes people are nervous. I get it. Sometimes you lose the job description, but generally most people, if they really were interested in that job, in that company, and not just applying to everything and anything, which is why I say don't do this, because you will forget. If you're applying to 25 jobs a day, when someone reaches back out to you about whichever job, you're not going to remember. So I used to keep a spreadsheet of the jobs that I would apply to, and I would make notes on like why I was interested. So that way, a recruiter asks me or they reach out to me and say, hey, they want to get me on the phone. I already have my notes. Sometimes we even pull the job description down, not because we're trying to trick up a job candidate, but it may just be that we only had the posting set to post for maybe 5 days, which is typically a minimum criteria. Or we've just had too many job candidates. I've done this multiple times where I will have the job pulled down because I just have I have 300 people that I have to review. So I don't want to have people continuing to apply if we've got people or we're at the interview stage now. So I'm going to, take the job down because I don't want people to just think, to spend their time applying if it's not really a relevant job to really apply for at that point. So yes, learning in between jobs, and then also, yes, you have to keep up with what you're doing. Don't just spin your wheels applying, because that will definitely get to you. Because if you think about it, if you're applying to 25 jobs a day, you're probably not doing things like catering your resume. You are most likely going to be getting more of those rejections because of the sheer amount of jobs that you're applying to. And it may not be the exact match for your skill set, because I get it. I mean, with Indeed and LinkedIn, you can even auto apply. You're just, whatever the title sounds like, it's just like, yep. I just need a job. Yep. And then you go back to the job and you're like, why did I even apply this? So I've been there. So I've seen both sides. Cassandra said, yes, taking a mental break is definitely important. Yes. And just in general, even with work, like certain people don't like taking vacations, but you need to take a vacation. We talked about that before in another video on how PwC is literally paying their employees up to $1,000 in the year to just take the vacation now. You need to take a break. We don't want everyone taking the vacation at the end of the year. take some of your vacation. So they're paying people to take their vacation. But it is really a good thing because it does help your mental state. Thank you, Edward. Yes, please do. Please hit the like button. How do I like using Restream? So far, I am liking it. You know what, Edward, is actually very similar to StreamYard, I think. So there's different options. There's like the chat feature on the right-hand side of me, what I'm seeing on my screen. It still has the capabilities where I can actually show different comments in here, and I can type comments in here as well. With Restream, it did notify me that I would not be able to see comments or anything until I actually went live. So that's one difference between Restream and StreamYard. StreamYard, I was able to see comments, except for one time it got a little weird, but generally I was able to see comments before I even went live, which was pretty cool. But with this, you have to go live before you can even see comments. So I'm guessing before people can even comment on the video. So that's there are some captions in here that you can set up. So kind of like the banners in StreamYard. I just didn't realize it until I got on here. And then there's some different graphics that I guess you can put in here, like logos. So similar to StreamYard as well. So that's similar. The other thing that I like is that it does look like you can invite people. So Mr. Wise, I don't know if Mr. Wise is still in here. He asked me yesterday if he could jump up and talk, but I was in YouTube. And so I was like, I can't invite anyone to come up and talk. At least I don't think you can. But yes, there is the option here to do that. So I don't know if anyone wants to come up and talk or ask me a question, but happy to throw the link in there. And then you can add a video file. I don't know if you can do that in StreamYard, but that's interesting. And I can also share my screen, it looks like, too. So that is all pretty cool. And let me see if I can find this article I was referencing. Oh, yes. So, okay, I do have it. Well, this one said 18 different ways to rebound when your job search is bringing you down. I was like, that's just too much. Like, that's even overwhelming to think about. So I don't think I really read that one, but there was another one. I guess I just closed out of it yesterday. But anyway, but that's about Restream. So there's a lot of different options in here. And of course, and it's free. So I don't know if there's any limits on like how much you can stream, but on StreamYard, I can't believe I reached my limit. I was like April just started. What? I reached my maximum already? So I think it restarts on April 28th. So I'll probably continue using this in the meantime. Cassandra says, wow, at least research the company mission statement or something. Oh my goodness. So you guys know before I worked at Nestle Purina. So it would be interesting sometimes that because the branding with Nestle and Purina is a little different. But, some people would think that they're applying to a Nestle job, and then others would think they're applying to a Purina job. Nestle was is the overarching company, parent company, and then Purina is the specific pet food company. So I would have to explain the differences of that, which I was used to, but then it went even further. Some people will be like, I've literally heard a candidate tell me, what job is like, you can't make this stuff up. Like talking to HR folks, you just can't make this stuff up. Yeah, what job is this? And then I'm telling them like, you applied to this job. And this wasn't the case where the person had applied to 15 jobs, which I don't recommend doing that. With a company, I don't recommend just applying to all types of jobs at one time. Now, if you happen to apply to multiple jobs throughout a period of time, I think that's fine. I think that happens sometimes. And sometimes you do have to, keep trying to get that job. I have seen people apply a couple times, interview a couple times before they got hired. So that's fine. But I would just say, for people that are like literally on a Tuesday apply to like 10 jobs and some of them aren't even related. A lot of times they aren't related. And it's just like, but you don't even meet the basic qualification. Like meeting the basic qualifications is important. But a lot of times you'll see jobs will have preferred and all these extra things. I'm like, if you don't meet all those extras, apply anyway, because most likely a lot of people aren't going to meet those. So just apply and see what happens. A lot of times you will get a call back, even if you don't have those plus factors, because, especially within certain niche industries, they're tough to fill anyway. And I say that a lot too, because a lot of women typically, if we see there are 10 things that this job needs and we don't match every 10 things, a lot of times we don't apply. So I always recommend, especially women, like we got to push ourselves a little bit, just like the men do. Let me see here. As a recruiter, does getting people hired who turn out to be bad employees reflect poorly on your reputation? It can. I haven't had this issue. I have had one person that, I think I told you guys about him. This happened to be a Black man, and I was super excited because it was my first Black male hire, particularly in IT. And I won't say which company this was at. This wasn't at Nestle Purina. But yeah, he didn't work out. And it didn't reflect badly on me, actually, because here's the thing is, yes, I'm the recruiter that vets the person initially, but you have a whole team of people that talks to these candidates and vets these candidates further. So it's not my decision to hire a person. I am the one that's really identifying talent, preparing that talent to interview, making sure they understand, kind of what they're getting themselves into, and moving them through the process. Like once that team says, yes, we want to hire them, making sure that the candidate's happy with like an offer, the team is happy. I'm that balancing act. I'm kind of that, I guess, middle person to make sure things go smoothly. But in this guy's case, he had really stretched the truth. Say it, politically correct way. He stretched the truth on some of the skills he had, and I'm guessing he just wasn't able to learn it quick enough, and they had to get rid of him. But that team said many great things about me, still asked me to work with them. And I moved into a different role, and they got a new recruiter, and a couple of them were like, hey, we got some positions, can you help us? And they were like asking me to come back and help them. And I'm like, you got a new recruiter. She can help you. So no, they were a cool team to work with, but that's the only one I can think of that just didn't work out. But yeah, I mean, I think it can, if there's a trend, if let's say there was a trend of, hiring just the wrong people, then yeah, that would reflect badly. I think something else that reflect badly would be if the candidates are saying they had a bad experience with the recruitment process. And that's actually something that I'm really happy that I've done really well at. And I've gotten a really great feedback from candidates on their experience. But I think it just comes from, I like people, and I just, like any candidate I'm working with, I am like, okay, let's get you ready for this process. I want you hired. And I'm really not pushing people along that I'm questionable about. Like, I don't know about their character. I am really presenting people that I feel strongly about. And I'm saying, like, this is a great person. You need to talk to them. And so why wouldn't I prepare them if I think they're, the right match for the job? So anyway, long way to answer that question. But yes and no, it depends. If there's a trend, then yes, but there's a lot of people in the process aside from the recruiter a lot of the time. I would say the hiring manager, though, if there was also a trend of them hiring subpar people, I think there would be a question of their ability to make really good hiring decisions. Or maybe there's an issue on their team, because again, it's not always the person. Like if someone was to get terminated from a job, it's not always that there was an issue with that person. Maybe the team environment just wasn't right for them. It could be a toxic culture. There's so many different factors. So sometimes it's the person, sometimes the person is just toxic, or they can't do the job, or they really weren't qualified. Other times it could just be not the right fit for their skill set. Maybe they're really skilled in writing, but they're in a digital, or technical job, and it's just not, they're trying to try something different, and then it doesn't work out. So it just really depends. And hello, Zero, welcome in. Appreciate you being here. Let me see here. You only get 20 hours on stream. I see that, and I ran out of that 20 hours quick. I guess that's what happens when you start streaming all the time, right? Because you guys know, I was on a roll. I was like, had that little time off, and I was like, you know what? When can I stream? I'm not going to be one of those people that will do a full, or at least I don't think I will ever do this, but who knows? Things, I guess never say never, right? But I don't think I could be one of the folks that do the marathons where you see people on YouTube all day long. And I would just say that's more for my mental health. I just don't think I just don't know if that's healthy. I think it can be really overwhelming. Maybe if you just did it once a month or something, but I know it's a lot of pressure, or you're really motivated to get to the point where you can earn an income from YouTube. And so I get it, but I just have to have a little balance. The timing, it'll happen, it'll come when it's time. So I try to be pretty patient while still doing what I can and offering value. So I don't think it'll ever be a point where you'll see me on a live and I'm just like, hey y'all, I'm just gonna sit here, look pretty. Y'all just be in the chat and support me so we can get on this money, okay? So I don't think I would ever do that. Plus I like to talk, so yeah. Cassandra says, during a Zoom interview, the candidate refers back to their resume to engage in discussion. Is that okay to refer back to the resume to prevent from forgetting any key points? Oh yeah, no, so when I'm prepping candidates, I always tell them, bring your resume, have your resume in front of you, refer back to it. If you let's say I was being interviewed right now. Let's say, Cassandra, you're interviewing me and you were asking me about a time, I don't know, let me think of a good one. Oh, a time where I led a project. And maybe I've led some projects here and there, but a really strong example of me leading a project was, or maybe even because I just switched jobs, I don't have an example in my current job, right? So I would go back to Nestle Purina and I talk about this specific projects that I worked on. And maybe I have a bullet point on it, about that in my resume. So I may reference it myself, but you may also suggest to the interview, I did share it on my resume, and then you give them that context. But really, I would say with the interview, you don't really need to refer to it as much. Really, the interview process is, we're trying to get away from the resume a bit, right? So we've vouched it on the resume, check mark. Application, check mark. So, we're good. The resume's good. So during that interview process or Zoom interview, it's really just confirming everything that the hiring manager saw on your resume, right? So all those things that stood out to them. Let's say they're, I don't know, hiring for I already forgot your industry, Cassandra, but let's say you work in marketing and you have specific social media skills that they're looking for. You got the communication skills, you got these different, you're getting engagements and they see those results in your resume. You should definitely refer to some of that stuff and then give some even better specifics on what made that so great. So how did you really stand out? So if you were asking me that question about leading a project, I could refer to, I do have it mentioned on my resume. This was back when I was at whatever company, giving that high level of what the situation was, and then really digging into what were those tasks that I did, what really stood out about it, what challenges that I have to overcome, and then what was the overall result? What made it so great? I, was able to pull this team of 10 people together to get this project done on time and on budget, for example. And what were the challenges were, we had people, different time zones across the globe and, from different apartments, et cetera, et cetera. And, I had to really be proactive, be engaging with everyone, schedule regular meetings, really work with everyone's schedule, being in different time zones, and, make sure that I really knew what was going on and made myself available to all of my team members, and also made sure that they knew exactly what they needed to be working on each week to really hit that deadline of whatever date. And we were able to hit the deadline. We actually came in a little earlier. Like whenever you can say you hit a deadline even earlier, you got ahead of the deadline, that's always a good thing. So I always mention that. And then if you save some money, that is phenomenal. Every company wants to save a little money. Let me see here. But yes, Cassandra, along with that, you can also have notes, especially Cassandra, for behavior-based interviews. So that question I asked, or the question I kind of present as an example, describe a time where you had to lead a project. That's an example of a behavior-based question. For those, especially if you're getting a couple of them, have some notes just so you should always have like a kind of a notebook, a portfolio or something that you can refer back to of examples from your past or highlights that you can really sell yourself on. And that really helps during interviews because you can kind of refresh yourself on all these things that you did. Because sometimes you forget. Sometimes just having your resume, you're like, I don't remember that project. I know it's on my resume, but I don't remember that. So, and what you wouldn't want to happen is someone like the interviewer asks you about, hey, I saw you did this on your resume. You're like, huh? You're like, I don't remember that. So definitely refresh yourself before the interview and have some examples. And so every bullet point you do have on your resume, you should be able to talk about. Okay, you guys know I'm a little bit long-winded, so I hope that answered the question. King of Kill says, would I do a vegan mukbang? I don't know, maybe. I mean, because my channel is just called my name. So I feel like that gives me a lot of creative space to do anything. I do have a second channel though. Maybe I feel like that might be better. If anything, if I did something with food, I would probably have like a luncheon, like lunch and learn, or I don't know, let me think. Like some type of educational maybe video or just chit chat or like an open Q&A over lunch, and then maybe I would eat. But a mukbang, I just don't know if that's really me. I'm not the type of person to really eat on camera. Even in meetings, I'm a little weird about snacking and things on camera. So if I'm eating something, which doesn't really happen, like a lot of times I'll just skip lunch. If I feel like my schedule's that much where I can only eat during this meeting, I might just skip. Or I'll hide my camera and mute my mic if it's like one of those meetings where it's like, I'm not going to talk a ton. Like I'll get my point out and then I'll, start to announce some food. And then, but again, that doesn't happen very often just because I don't like that whole, I don't know. For me, it just feels like bad etiquette to be presenting myself on screen while eating. But I know there's like big market for mukbangs. I just can't see myself today doing it, but who knows? Maybe, who knows how long I'll be on YouTube. So if I'm on YouTube for a while and there's a big demand and people are like, we need you to do a vegan mukbang, I don't know, I might try it. I mean, I never say never, right? I know King of Kill is like, you also mentioned, or was it you or Zero? I think one of you mentioned the yoga, like doing a yoga video. That I could see myself doing a yoga video before I did a mukbang. Education. Oh, education is your field. Okay. You know what? I'm trying to think of education. The thing that's probably closest to education would be when I was recruiting for learning and development folks. So that would fall into education, but that's corporate education. So I don't know if you're corporate education, but I'm thinking you're a teacher. I think you did comment that before and I just didn't remember. So that is awesome. Oh, that's awesome because we need educators. We need some good educators. Congrats to you on your new job. Did you have to interview for it? And if so, were you nervous? I did interview for it. I had 3 or 4 interviews. separate interviews. This was a job that I was reached out to on LinkedIn. So I was poached. And I mean, I guess no. I mean, I think there's a little bit of nervousness everyone has for interviewing. But for me, I interview so many people, and I had also been casually interviewing places because I told you guys, a mentor told me years ago to always be interviewing. So typically, if I'm a few months in a company, I'll just, either whether it's an official interview or not, I typically will talk to recruiters on a regular basis. So I'm always talking about just my background. And so I'm pretty comfortable sharing and giving my spiel. But of course I did prepare for it a little bit, but nothing too heavy. I didn't do any like mock interviews or anything. Like I feel pretty comfortable interviewing. So I think I would have been more nervous if I had been in a situation where I had not interviewed for maybe a year or two. Then I would be more nervous. Even I'm thinking back to when I was laid off, I don't think I was very nervous. So obviously, for me, the few seconds right before, or maybe a few minutes, like 10 minutes before the interview is probably my most nervous time because I'm like, okay, I want to kind of get this over with. And I don't know if it's nervousness or if I just turn that nervousness into, energy where I'm just like kind of anxious to let's talk to folks. So yeah, a long way to say that, but I'm not super nervous. I've seen different scales of people that are nervous in interviews, from folks that, from the girl that was, I'm just gonna pick up my notebook here, from the girl that was literally shaking, answering questions. I felt so bad for her, to people that sweat profusely, like sweating. A lot of times men, I've seen many men sweating because they're nervous or because they're overdressed. They have on a suit and they really don't need to have a suit and a tie for their interview because it makes them uncomfortable. And then then the other nervousness thing that shows up sometimes is the over talking. Someone asks you a question, and then not only do you answer that question, but you provide you spend, I don't even know the amount of time answering the question and then don't really answer the question. So I've seen that happen a few times. Everyone deals with nervousness in a different way, but yeah, overall, no, not really. Cassandra says, great points. Thank you. Oh, you're welcome. I appreciate you being in here and listening to me. My little chit chat here. Oh, King and Kill, you didn't mention that. I thought so. I just didn't. I was like, sometimes I'm just like, wait, who said it? So yeah, yoga. I could see myself doing the yoga videos before mukbang. Again, it's just not. I don't know. I kind of feel like my mom's in the back of my head. Like that's not ladylike. What are you doing on TV? But then two, I don't know if I would be the most comfortable doing that. See myself doing yoga on camera, I could see. Yeah, I'm still trying to envision it like a mukbang. No, probably not. So anyway, thank you, Edward. Yes, please do hit the like button and share if you're able to. If you do know someone that you just feel like maybe they're stressed out, maybe they're overwhelmed, they're on the job search, do share the video with them. I do want people to know first with a job search, if they're hearing rejections, it is not their fault. I think that is the biggest takeaway. It is nothing that you are doing wrong. If anything, there might be something wrong with your process, but there's nothing wrong with you, because that is just a really hard thing to deal with, especially if you're not used to an industry like sales or recruitment where you do see rejection. Like for me, if I see a rejection letter, I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. But for some people, they're just not used to hearing no, or that you were rejected. So it can be tougher for them, and that can kind of cause a trickle effect. How long have I done yoga? Oh my gosh. I think I started doing yoga. Well, I've taken breaks. I haven't been super consistent with yoga until as of last year. So, uh, like January last year, I started being pretty consistent with yoga practice. Before that, I started it initially, I think in 2016. Yeah, I think 2016. And I would actually go to classes. So I would go to yoga classes, so they would have the blocks and everything. And I like the classes, but I don't know. I kind of like, now that, I've been doing it at home, I like doing it at home a little bit more, because with the classroom guided practice, you really are at the full, I guess, mercy of the instructor. Like, they're guiding you along or whatever. Whereas, like, because it's just yoga, like, you don't know what poses you're really going to focus on for that time period until you really get there, especially if it's a new instructor. But with doing it at home, I can literally go, the person that I watch a lot is Yoga with Bird, just because I like her vibe and I like the actual yoga that she practices and the moves and everything. But I can actually go into her site on YouTube and actually pick and choose which thing I want to do. So I can pick, do I want to focus on stretching? Do I want to do power yoga? Do I want to focus on stretching hips today? So I like yoga a ton. Let me see. You mentioned to always be interviewing. That really stood out to me. I think that is such a wise concept. Yes. So my mentor, who also does work in HR, she actually hired me. So we went to the same college, and she hired me into my internship program at the PR firm I worked at, which I ended up working full time back in the day. And yeah, she's super smart, very smart lady. And she told me, like, yeah, you should always be interviewing. You should always be assessing your pay and your compensation. Talk to people about compensation so you know where you're at. And I've learned this just from also being a recruiter. Like, you should definitely learn your market. There should be never a time where you interview for a job, even apply for a job, and you don't understand what the market rate is for not only the job title that you're applying to, but your specific set of skills. Because even if a certain job is at a certain salary range or level, you may have additional skills. Like, I know, Cassandra, you have an MBA. You've completed a graduate program. So that will increase your, value in the spaces that you go into. Whatever you do, no one can take that education from you, right? Any skills that you've learned, if you're a great communicator, if you are well networked, even those things can actually have an influence on your value into different spaces, especially, like, for example, a well-networked person. I had this incident working with the PR firm, because there was a guy that was he knew everybody in his niche, and he was connected with a lot of different clients. And a lot of times he knew things, he had the insight on things that were helpful to the agency before a lot of the managers did. So that was extremely valuable. So they put up with a lot of things because he had that added value. So not only was he was doing his job, but he had that added skill of just him being very proactive and being, well networked in all these different events, in the know, knowing who's who, and knowing what was coming. Like, being able to have insight to the future on what's coming, what other people are about to do, that is crucial to companies. Companies spend big money on insights. So to have someone with that and bringing that value into the workplace is great. And so all these different things that we have, it adds to our value. So don't, when you're thinking about compensation, consider all of that. Don't undermine yourself. And again, I think a lot of women do that. And I also think that sometimes people coming right out of school, think that too, even if they do have work experience. And I think a part of that is that sometimes other people look down or say or tell them like, you don't have this experience, when they do. So it's like, don't tell me what experience I have. Okay, so King of Kill says, when you say poached, does that mean your current company stole you from your previous one? So when I say poached, I mean I didn't directly apply to a company. The company I'm at, I was contacted. So someone contacted me. Again, you guys know I love LinkedIn. So he contacted me while I was still working at another company and said, hey, liked your profile, let's chat about this opportunity. And then it went from there. So that's what I mean by poached. I know typically when someone's saying like poached, yes, it is kind of like, and recruiters hear this a lot, like you stole someone from another company. So, I mean, yeah. So yeah, they got me. It was actually a tough decision, and ultimately it was just the best decision for me. And there's my alarm. Best decision for me at this time. Lots of good benefits for me. So yeah. Nothing against the former company. They were great as well. So it's just, sometimes you just got to make moves for yourself. It's nothing that, was necessarily wrong with the other company, but you just got to make the decision for yourself. And who knows, maybe I would venture back. You just never know what happens in your corporate career because, I could be, I'm younger into my career. So who knows what's going to happen over the course of the next 5 years, 10 years. But yeah, all good things I would say about former company. So no corporate espionage. That is funny. No corporate espionage. You have to always do what's best for yourself. Yes, definitely, 100%. 100%. Cassandra, 100%. So on that note, unless there are other questions, I think I will go. You know what? One thing I do want to look at before I get off of here. Let me just look at something really quickly. Get on here because I do wonder if there is a delay from StreamYard. Let me turn this down so it's not an echo. So someone please type just something in the comment. Just type in like a 1, 2, 3, whatever you want to type in there. I just want to see something. I want to see if there is a delay with Restream in comparison to, or I guess I could type in. Let me see. I can test this out too. Test. Oh, I think there is no. There's not as long as a delay in Restream, it looks like. Thank you, King Kill. So wait, let me see. Let me see because it may have just went fast for me. Sandra says 10. Okay, yeah, they came through pretty quick. Yeah. Actually, I saw your comment testing on Restream before I saw it on my phone because I got myself up on here in YouTube. So that's pretty cool. Okay. The only other difference is I guess I see 4 people versus 3 people in the chat. So I don't know. Restream seems pretty good. I'm happy to do like maybe a video on like, hey, what's been my experience with Restream versus StreamYard. I don't know the limits or anything. Oh, wait, let me see what this is. What's the chat overlay? Oh, wait a minute. Oh, what is this? Wait, what happens with this? I'm just gonna put cool. What? I didn't know about this. So that is pretty neat. I don't know if you can change the background in here, but that's something different. And I think it looks like you can set themes too. So interesting. Okay, so far I'm liking Restream. And you can add captions in here too. Oh yeah, I see your comment, King Kill. Nice. Yeah, I like it. StreamYard has a little competition. Now, if they say there's no limit on the streaming, that's going to be a wrap. It's going to be like, we're done. But I wonder if, let me see what the overlays look. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. I wonder if I can, you can customize overlays. To upload your own infos, please upgrade to our plan to professional. Okay, so you can, so they have a professional plan as well, it looks like. And then it looks like you can add your own logo if you upgrade. So you have all the same options, but a little bit more. Let me see here. You can include the, oh, wait, let me see what this is. Now I'm just playing in here, guys, but that is cool. Oh, this is great. So I'm going to be playing around with this probably on my next video, which is before I leave, right? King of Kill, this is pretty cool. I like it. It's like, let me see what this one is. Hopefully I'm not giving anybody like, you know, messing with anyone's eyes because I'm changing the, you know how annoying it is sometimes when someone, like you're in the car with someone and they keep changing the station or they keep changing the songs, or you're at someone's house, they keep changing the channel, and it's like, just pick something. You're like, just pick something, please. So I don't have to keep going back and forth with this. So that's pretty nice. They have a couple different options. So those aren't the only ones. The ones I just showed up here aren't the only ones. Let me see what else is in here. What is this guy? Oh, okay. So they have their support in here as well. Hey, I mean, I can't say I have any complaints. I think it's pretty cool. And I see Cassandra saying, I've never heard a restream until today. Oh, okay. Well, you're welcome. King of Kill said, neither have I. I just found it on Google, guys. I was just looking for streaming because you guys know I was like, yesterday was a little awkward because I like seeing everyone's comments. I like to engage with people. I like to share. I like to share what I'm seeing just so people know that I'm not just making this up and, you know, pulling it out of some random hat. It's like legit studies that I'm showing. So that's why I try to link the articles after the video, or sometimes I include it beforehand if I've already done the research on the topic I want to talk about. So yeah, I like that engagement, because otherwise, like on YouTube, it kind of was starting to feel like, I don't know, like I just didn't feel as engaging. Like I wanted to share a little bit more. So anyway, but I do have, okay, this is the one negative I would say with the Restream, because I tried it. It works solely on, or I guess tends to work better on your not your mobile device, on your PC, on your computer. So you do need to use your desktop or your, laptop computer. When I tried to use Restream from my phone, I tried to use the link to put myself up as a guest from my phone. That did not work for me. And then I got a notification that said, Restream doesn't work well on mobile devices. So that may be one downside, because since I like the camera on my phone more, I use StreamYard for my phone, and then I would share articles from my computer. So that was my setup. So that I could still share, but then I could have the right camera setting that I wanted and everything. So yeah. What was the other thing I wanted to do really quickly? Oh, I wanted to find, I think I'm talking about the next topic on Thursday. I'm pretty sure. So I shared out this women and money. There's this free conference going on, Good Education on Finance, it seems like. I've never been before, but I saw it today. So I wanted to just share it with, the folks I know. And the other thing is on Thursday, I am continuing the colorism conversation. What is my topic though? Let me see if I can look at that because I don't exactly remember the title. Let me see. Okay, I'm doing it. Getting off of here. Okay, so the title is just, so again, benefits and disadvantages of skin tone. And this one is, the full title is, I think I basically just said light skin, pale skin, like being too pale, because you guys know I want to talk about that. I want to explore that as well. So I'll be exploring, what are some differences, because I don't have that experience. I'm not a white person. I'm not a light skinned person. So I do want to kind of understand and also further dig into that comment. Do you guys remember that last study from the African-American men that were of lighter skin tone? Like I tried to show you the chart from my computer, but that they were saying that they did not experience, really any negative or discrimination, or I guess bad treatment. I think it said bad treatment from white people, or technically, externally outside their group. And if anything, they had the negative happen, like they benefited, right? And so I want to dig into that more because it was just very surprising to me. I don't understand that because typically, there's colorism, there's featureism, there's all these different isms. And typically I don't know if other people really distinguish between quite as much whether someone's a Black person or not. Like I think if you're a Black light-skinned person like a Drake to a darker skinned person like Idris Elba, I still think you probably would see some form of something throughout your lifetime if you're in the United States, most likely, or probably anywhere in the world. But I think sometimes when people say that they haven't had any discrimination come their way, and this is just my thought, I don't have research to back me up on this, but I do think a part of that is that we become a little bit desensitized to some of the discrimination. So it wasn't like someone blatantly saying the N-word to someone, but maybe it was a microaggression. Maybe someone asked you a question of, oh, did you know your dad? I don't know, something like that. Or you say, yeah, I met my dad yesterday. Oh, you knew your dad? Or, something little that you don't notice. So I don't know. It was interesting to me. But then on the flip side, maybe that is just really true. They're not receiving that. I don't know on the spectrum of light skin where these people fell into, where these men fell into. Maybe they looked very close to white. And so maybe people weren't able to see the difference. I have no idea. There's so much that goes into that stuff. So, but yeah, I'm just kind of interested to dig into it. The other thing I'm interested in digging into more is something that I've just seen of of a lot of white girls that I've heard comment about their skin tone and being too pale. And I just don't understand that because, again, I've said on my channel, like I like all colors. So I see the beauty in all of it. But I also recognize the issues that we have. And so even in other communities, it's like there's some bizarre behavior kind of happening that we're kind of seeing, like the blackfishing, the comments that some white influencers even said about their own skin tone. So it's just like, either way you go, it's just wrong. We're being fed to hate our skin or hate our hair or hate our eye color or hate our this or that or whatever. And I think it's just really sad. And it's like, also, I want to understand if people are actually being treated badly because of being too pale, because that's something that I've just noticed in a small way. And so I just want to know about it. I just want to learn. And then I'll share it with you guys, or we can learn together. Cassandra says, I never heard about, Okay. So I hope I'm available for that live. I definitely have some questions and input. Okay, King of Kill. Well, if you ever want to come up onto the platform, let me know. It seems like we do have this feature. So just let me know, or of course, just put in the comment like, hey, can I come up and chat? And that would be an option. And also tonight, if you have any comment. I know you're trying to get off, so I'll save my comments on that for later. Uh-oh, you have a lot of comments? You can share. I mean, I'm not in a rush. I have an alarm just to make sure I eat dinner. That's kind of sad that I need to put an alarm in there. If you have a question, I'll wait a minute to see what comment comes up. If not, I will go ahead and jump off. Oh, an update for everyone on the hours. I am at, and it's a little bit delay, like it only counts the day before. So it's not counting yesterday's live, but I am just around needing around 400 hours. So yeah, probably if I take into account yesterday, maybe I'm more around in the 300s. So I am getting close to monetization. So we'll see if I can hit the goal of hitting that by the end of this week. Fingers crossed. We will see. But hopefully that will mean better content on the channel. Okay, I'm not seeing, oh. The King of Kill said, okay. Great live. Thank you, Cassandra. Okay, I'm not seeing a comment yet, King of Kill. Yes, no? Okay. I think you're going to hold your comment for the chat Thursday. Hopefully you can join. And yeah, appreciate you all being here. Again, share with someone if you know someone struggling through their job search. And I hope you all enjoyed it. And if you're watching this replay, definitely leave me a comment if you have thoughts on this or if you have questions. I can also be reached on Instagram at Jobs from Jess. I'm also on TikTok, Jobs from Jess, and Twitter, Jobs from Jess. So all of it's Jobs from Jess. If you're interested in just my personal happenings, that's Miss Jessica Crystal on Instagram. All right. Well, have a good night, everybody. And I hope to see you Thursday. I don't plan on coming on Wednesday, but if something happens, I did see a topic on LinkedIn that I might be interested in talking about. I may pop up on Wednesday night if I'm really passionate about talking about something. Otherwise, good night. And yeah, happy Tuesday. Hope you have a great rest of the week and see you on Thursday. Peace and love. Now, how do I get off of here?